So we're going to show you how we did the Icebreakers Frost advertisement, where it's just a guy trapped in ice. It's not a super in-depth tutorial, but it is kind of cool and fun, and it'll show you how to take some images and use some overlays and transformations to get things to look really cool. All right, so let's get started. This is my original. I'll turn that off. So I started off with an image like this, and I found it at, oh man, Offset, I believe, or Shutterstock, something like that. And I just thought it looked cool, and it had this nice little round area here where I wouldn't have to do a whole bunch of work to get my center object. So let's see here. Then I took, so we're going to be using these images. Let's see here. That one, that guy, which I got from Shutterstock, and the icicles, which I also got from Shutterstock, and one more frozen ice from Shutterstock. And I'm just using this image for like the sharp edges here, some of the black in here, the edges of the ice here, and these really small bubble lines, and really like fine little water bubble lines of as it's melting. That's going to actually come through where the other one was way more frozen. So we'll show you how to blend both of those. All right, so the first thing that we did was we took this image here and we left a little bottom spot for text and call to action. So I'm really just kind of working in this area right here. Let's see. We can take our guy and we can go ahead and get him in there. And I made him a little bit bigger, I believe. Yeah. So you make him a little bit bigger. And then we are going to go to select subject. It's going to make an algorithm where it'll actually try to select the subject from the background as best it can. It won't be perfect, but it'll be close, and it'll save us a lot of time from having to use the pen tool. Normally I use the pen tool, but because this guy is going to be behind all of the ice and frozen, there's going to be a lot of stuff overlaid on top of him, so you can save a lot of time by not really worrying about it. So now I can go to the magic wand, and I can hold down shift, and I can just click in this little area, and it'll go ahead and grab the rest of that white that was missing. So we can, let's see, there's some there that's missing. And let's go ahead and mask that. Okay, that didn't work. Let's do that again. So let's delete that mask. Sometimes it's trial and error. Delete the layer mask. All right, so let's go select subject. We'll let it do its thing, and I'm not going to modify it. So we'll just select it. It'll make a selection here in just a second. There's the selection. You can see that it's missing some stuff in here. We'll get that later. Let's just go ahead and mask it. And now let's just go in and clean up that mask just a little bit. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because he's going to be hidden. But you do want some clean lines. So let's go. We'll just mask it. So we're on black. We're painting on our mask here. And I did that by masking it by clicking this. That creates a quick mask. And I'm going to just go ahead and erase. Make the brush a little bit smaller, using the bracket keys to do that. Just try to get some of that halo off. I'm not using a sharp brush because I don't want a super sharp edge. His shirt wouldn't have a super sharp edge, but his thumb will. So I'm going to change my hardness to about 80%. And just go right along there. And make the brush a little bit smaller. And we're good. Now I will turn my hardness back down. And get rid of this junk over here. Oops. And let's turn my hardness back up. 75 is good. Make the brush a little bit smaller using the bracket keys. I didn't like that. Let's Command Z and undo that. We'll bring this down. We're going to be putting a lot of white behind him, so it's really not going to have to be perfect. I just don't want this bright white behind him. So let's just try to clean it up as best as we can. By the way, I usually use a pen tablet. However, I'm in a position where I don't have that, so I'm actually using just the little pad on my MacBook Pro. And let me tell you something, it is challenging. Okay, but anyways, we got it. There's more. So we keep going here. You know what? Let's try the Magic Wand tool, and let's just select it because it doesn't have to be perfect. And let's see, make sure you're selected on the image, and then you can select. And let's see if we can just erase this. No, it's not going to let us. Let's see if we'll mask it. Paint on the mask. Yeah. So this way you can have a big brush, and now that we've got the selection, it won't affect anything else. So that's what we wanted. That'll be quicker. And let's get over here. That looks good. Okay, we don't need to be perfect. Hello. Where are you going? Alright. So let's see. We're going to go right in between those guys. And we'll get this stuff right here. And this. And this. Okay. Alright, I'm good with that. Let's go out so we can see it. Alright. Command D to deselect it. Okay. Now, what we want to do is, even though this is in the background right now, I just did it to get him placed. I really want that ice over top of him. So let's go ahead and make a copy of it and then move it above him. And let's see here. What if we do screen? We'll use a normal, and what we'll do is we'll just make a mask, and we will paint with black, but we will grab a, let's see, I have downloaded, they're free, online at Brush Easy. I've got some cloud brushes, I believe they are, and smoke brushes. So we'll just use a cloud brush here, like this one right here, and we'll make it a little bit bigger. And I just kind of want to reveal some of him. Let's turn the opacity down to like 30. You know, just enough. Make the brush a little smaller. Just dot it out to where you are cool with, you know, what you're seeing. Now his hands are actually touching the glass or the ice, so I'm gonna, you know, erase a lot more there because I actually want it to look like his hands are touching the ice from behind it, and then, you know, down through here it'll be less because he's going farther away. You just want to just kind of show people that he's back there. And again, over here, we're going to erase a lot because his hands are touching it. And then not so much here. And on his cheek because that's touching. All right, so I'm cool with that. He looks like he's kind of coming out of it. What we'll do is, let's see here, let's add the other ice, which was this one right here. All right, let's make that fit. And I'm just holding down shift as I transform this so that it keeps proportions. Let's get it right down to the bottom of that. That's good. We'll go ahead and apply that. And let's put this one to hard light. Cool. And see, that brought out some of the blacks. It gave it this nice blue tone that we're going to change anyway, but at least it deepened it. And this is what I was talking about. See how you can see the little lines through? That's kind of what we were looking for. That's what we wanted to make it look like he's really behind the ice. What we'll do now is we will mask this, make a quick mask, which is right here by clicking this. And we will paint on black, and that will reveal what's underneath. So I'm going to be at about a 30% opacity, and I'm just going to just barely touch so I can reveal some of this, and it's not so sharp on him. And again, I'm doing more on the hands because he's touching, his face is touching. But I do want some of these shards to go away because I don't want it to be so dominant on top of him. We just want it to kind of blend him in. Okay, I'm cool with that. The shards here look like they're really cool. Those look like they're in between them. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller here. I don't really like all these shards right here. So let's go back to this mask and let's dab some of those out. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now let's go to, actually let's go ahead and let's click on the layer with the guy, and let's name these so we don't get lost. Our guy, and then this one will be ice 1, and this one will be ice 2. Okay, what we want to do is we want to click on the guy, and we are going to click right here, this little half globe looking thing. We're going to click it once, and that is going to add an adjustment layer. And the one that we want to do is hue and saturation. We want to desaturate this guy a little bit because he's way too colorful. So let's put it down to about negative 68, negative 60. I like that one. Let's go negative 60 on that. And then let's go one more time. We're going to click on that, and let's go to our, let's see here, we'll go color balance, and we'll put some more blues into his midtones. So we're on the midtones here. Let's put a little bit more cyan into him and take out some of that red. And then add a little bit of blue, but not too much. It looks like he's a little bit colder now. The highlights will make it pop, so let's take these and let's go cyan. Just a little bit, and let's go yellow because that's going to add a greeny effect. There we go. Just a little bit. Okay, and then that's good. And let's see. Now, over the top of these, you want to click on this top layer of ice. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to desaturate. Hue and saturation. Just desaturate just a little bit. Okay. There we go. I like that. So I went about negative 50%. And then we are going to add another adjustment layer. We're going to do a color balance. Now here we want to take the midtones. We want to get some of the other blue out and add some more of like a, you know, Mr. Frost type color, kind of. So we're going to just get him about like that. And then we'll hit the highlights one more time. All right. Cool. And then let's see here. We want to, this is looking really cool. Let's grab, let's see here. Well, first thing, let's go down to the guy. And let's add a new layer. Let's control click it and create a clipping mask. And let's turn it to soft light. I just want to make some of these areas pop. So we're going to use black and a normal brush. And let's get it down a little bit. Now what I want to do is I want to go in all the darker areas. I'm still at about, let's go to about 20%. 18, 20, 21, that's good. And just like right here, I just want to darken it just a little bit. Around his eye, I want to darken a little bit. Around this cheek, we'll darken. Let's go around his lip a little bit. Around this little lip right there. Let's go around his ear. And all that's doing is just making it a little bit darker in certain areas so that I'm popping out the features that I want to pop out. Give him that little line right there, one right there. And not so much the hands, I just want the face. Let's use white now, and that's going to brighten. So you want to go on the lighter areas, make a bigger brush. So a couple times there, a couple times there. Times bring that up. That looks good. And on his hands here, because they'd be touching, so they'd be a lot lighter, they'd match the ice. This looks good. All right. Now, let's see. What do we want to do next? Let's add some icicles. So we're going to grab the icicles we got from Shutterstock, and because we can't see them, let's just go ahead and get them in there, hit apply, place. Let's get it up top here so we can actually see what we're doing. For this one, again, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the pen tool, but we're just going to save some time. On this one, I'm not going to use the pen tool because this is going to be back behind so much grain and so much noise that it's really not going to matter. So let's just use the magic wand and let's put the tolerance at about 21. And that looks okay. Let's mask that. Okay, so there's some of our icicles. We got this one little area in here, and select it, and then let's go ahead and paint black. Make sure that you have 100% opacity, and we'll get that one little area out of there. That's perfect. Now, these are a little too bluey for me, so I want to go Image, Adjustments, hang on 1 second. So this has got a clipping mask, and it is vector objects. So what we do is we're going to rasterize it because it's as big as we'll ever need it. So I control-click the layer and click Rasterize, and now I can go Adjustments, and I want to desaturate it. Hue Saturation. Just drop it down just a tad. There we go. The reason I do that is because we're going to drop it down below all those color adjustment layers that we did, and that's going to make it totally pop even more than it really was. So let's go ahead and let's see. We want to add this to like his lip, maybe his nose, his eye. So let's get it down to the size that we think. Let's do this first on his eye. Okay, that's close. Let's zoom in. We'll apply it. All right. And we've got this little white line here on the edge. So I'm just going to use the eraser, and I'm going to erase that. Make sure you're at 100% opacity on the eraser. And there. That's good. And there's one little one right in here that I don't want. I don't like the edge of the ice. And that's good. All right. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of move it to where it's kind of close to the edge of his eye. Get it up above a little bit, right there. Perfect. And then I liked to use the warp tool. So we'll go edit, transform, warp. And we put this guy up like that. Pull it down a little bit. Bring this up. And what you're trying to do is just match his eye a little bit. You don't want these things to start, the points here to start pointing out to the left or the right. You do want them to match kind of the contour of his face, but you don't want them to go crazy. And we're just getting them close. And I'll put a little bit of push here because that's going to make it look like it's going down his cheek. So we'll go ahead and we'll keep that and apply. It's a little bit big, so let's make it a little bit smaller. Match it up right there on his eye. And that should be good. Now, turn it to screen. No, that's too much. Let's try hard light again. Hard light looks good. I'm thinking normal is actually our best bet. So let's leave it on normal and let's just do the opacity down just a tad. So it's not super strong. Apply it. Let's back up, see what we got. And that looks like icicles. So now we'll take that and we will hold down Alt and just move it, and you're going to make a copy of it. And we'll put some right here on top of his lips. And then we will copy that. And I'll put some more like right there. And let's make those shorter. Now let's zoom in because we got to clean this up. We will take our eraser tool, a fairly small brush, and we just want to kind of get it like it's right around his lip. And we made a copy, so let's go to the other layer, and so we can erase that one. And let's go back to the other one. And now what I like to do is I like to merge those two layers since they're the same. So I select both of them here and hold down Command and E, and that will just merge them into one layer. So now that's just one layer. And now we've got this little free floater over here, so we can just erase him. And this is not following the mouse, so we'll keep erasing. There we go. Now, I like to take my opacity down and turn it down to like 26, make a nice big brush kind of, and just one little swipe across the top here, and just kind of blend that in a little bit. So it looks like it's coming around the edge. So we'll go like this. Yeah, that's good. He's starting to look frozen. So let's put some of this, let's do a couple on his nose. And on his nose, let's go like, let's make them coming out. And maybe we'll only have a couple and they will be small. And let's squish them too so they're tighter. So we'll just get those like kind of close. Now on these, I'm gonna edit, transform so they all don't look the same. Flip it horizontally, and now I can use my eraser tool, and I can just kind of erase. 100%. I can erase just to the edge of the nose there. Maybe just right there. Just a tad. Okay. Looking good. Let's put those same ones on his ear and on the bottom lip, and we'll call it done on that. You can do as many as you want. This is just kind of, I'll put one like, we'll put that one right there, and we'll make it bigger. Okay, see that one worked because now they're going that way, so we can't do that. So let's go don't apply, and we'll just make it come to the edge right there. And we need to clean it up, go right along the top. And let's take the opacity down on this one to right about there, which is 62%. Let's go, you know what? I'm going to hit auto select layer so that I can just click on the layer. This one's at 72. Let's take it down a little bit less. There we go. Let's do that to all of them. I think they're a little too powerful. Bring him down. There we go. The one in the nose can stay. And then let's take the same one that's on the nose, and let's hold down Alt and drag it over to the ear. And what we're going to do is we'll just have that stick like it's right there, but we're going to have it longer. And I think that looks good. That's a little too bright, so let's take it down a little bit. There we go. It's just subtle. This is going to be really subtle. A lot of people won't even notice this stuff, but for the people that do, it's kind of cool. So we'll go ahead and apply it. Let's go ahead and hold down Alt, and let's move that one more time. Oops. All right, we're going to leave that. Okay, so yeah, that's cool. All right, I like it. I think we might have a little bit. We might have a little bit too much contrast here with the blues and the greens going on the yellows. So let me see what we've done here. No, we're good. All right. So we've got our icicles in there. Let's see. You know what? Yeah, that's pretty good. Now you could take these icicles and you could put some on his thumb, on his hand. You could put as many as you want. I'm gonna leave that up to you. I'm just gonna leave it right there and call it. Now I want to take away some of this blue on the outside here and make it match a little bit better. But I can't do that with color balances because we don't have selections. We don't have clipping masks. It's going to affect everything. So I would have to do that individually. So what I like to do to quickly do it is I go on the top of everything. I'll make a new layer. We'll turn it to soft light. And I'm going to paint with like a, let's see, cold frosty. Let's try that and see what happens. This might be too bright. This might not work. Yeah, it's a little too bright. So let's go. Let's do that and see what happens. A little too much still. So what we'll do is we'll just make it a little more gray. Nope, still not enough. Alright, so let's make it the turquoise again. And we'll go ahead and paint, not around the guy, but around just the outsides here. And then let's go on this one. Let's go image, adjustments, hue, saturation. Turn the saturation down. We just wanted a little bit. Alright, now let's do that one more time. And let's go to soft light. Oops, that's hard light. Let's go to soft light. Now let's pick a yellowy kind of color. Yellowy. Let's take that in. I know it looks weird right now, but let's just wait. Now let's go image, adjustments, hue, saturation. And let's get this where we want it. Okay, that looks good. And now let's take that opacity way down because we just wanted that to give it a little more frosty pop. There we go. That looks really good. That looks like it's cold. All right. So for the next thing, what I did was we took, this is my original group here that I had, and because it was going to be an icebreakers ad, you know, I grabbed from the internet. Let's see. Let me see if I can find perfectly powerful immense frost. Okay, so we grabbed a little frost. Let's see here. If we can go frost, ice. What was it called? I think it's Winter Cool. And then, yeah, that's the image that we used right there. So, thank you, Walmart, for your image. And then select subject on it. Select subject. And now what I like to do is I like to contract that. So select modify, contract, and usually by 1, and that'll just make it 1 little pixel smaller. So now when we mask it, there won't be any white around the edges like it normally does. So that's what we did there. And let's see. And I know it looks pretty colorful. You can leave this way, but at the end of it, I actually took a lot of that color down and made it look a little bit color. So we want to make it look like this was pressed up against in his hand, right? So now what we'll do is we'll call this mince. And, you know, I should have layered all these, but this is a quick tutorial, so we want this to go right above the guy. Oh, great. No, we didn't want to do that. So we want this to go right above the guy. So we'll drag it down here. Let's go right. Oh my gosh. How fantastic. How about if we just close this and that won't happen again. Alright, so we're going to go down. Right above the guy here, we'll put that. And right off the bat, it's a little too colorful, so let's go image, adjustments, hue, saturation. Take saturation down just a little bit. Make sure that you're clicked on the right layer first. Okay, so this has made a clipping mask because we took it in above the guy, which is fine. But the hue and saturation here is already affecting it. So let's make sure that we move this above any of the other clipping masks, and we'll release the clipping mask. And now we can go image adjustment, hue saturation. This should take it down now. Still not taking it down. Okey-doke. Let's add a new hue saturation layer. Let's clipping mask this, and it's going to clipping mask it to that. And let's see if that'll do it. Okay, it is, but we've got it colored over the top. That's what's happening. Okay, so that's fine. Now what we want to do is let's click back on the mints. Let's go to Image Adjustments Levels. And let's see here if it'll let us do this. Grab the middle one. And we just want to lighten it a little bit. Just play around until you can get it so it's a little bit lighter. And let's put this above all of the color balance layers. Alright. And now let's go, let's see here. What we want to do now is we want to put a shadow underneath of it. So right underneath the mints layer, let's add a new layer. And let's turn it to soft light. And let's paint with black. Nice small brush. And we're just going to drop a shadow in. Kind of like right there. Just a nice little subtle. Alright. And now let's copy that so it darkens it. There we go. And turn that opacity down to about 50, 54. Okay, now we want to go back to these two masks here because one of them has too much. There we go. This one right here has too much around the hand. So we want to go back to our eraser tool. And we want to, not at 100, we want to be at opacity about 30. That's 29. We just want to, not on that layer. Why is that taking that away? I shouldn't do that. Wow. Right, so let's undo that. And let's turn that layer off. And that layer off. And that layer off. That was our mints. And right now we're just focusing, we want to be clicked right on this right here. And we actually want to paint with black. So let's paint with black and let's just get rid of, there we go. We just want to dab it once, get rid of that, and let's turn these back on. Yeah, that's what we wanted. And you can actually take the mints and you can turn the opacity down just a little bit. There you go. To where it matches just a little bit. You want it to pop because that's the product. But you want it to look like it's pressed up against his hand. His hand's a little bit farther back, which is why it's a little bit more dull, which is perfect. I also think we need to go up here and paint black on this mask a little bit. Again, at about 30%, just on his fingers here. And bring those out. There we go. Bring those out just a little bit more, and maybe just a little bit more there. Okay. Alright, so this hue saturation layer right here, we are going to turn the opacity down to 50% so that a little more color comes through. And over top of everything, we are going to do a curves adjustment layer. And we're going to grab it right about here. We're going to push up just a little bit. And here we're going to pull down just a little bit. There we go. I'll dull that out and blend those a little bit better. And now we're going to do one more adjustment layer, and let's go color balance, and let's go midtones, and let's see what happens here. That's too much. That looks good. All right, that looks good. And now we want one final desaturation. The reason we do all these different ones is because if you did it just one, it wouldn't match as good. We needed to match it 2 or 3 times. So now we're going to do one more. And we're going to go hue saturation. And then let's just turn the saturation down. So it's about where we like it. I like it about right there. All right. And then we literally took another, so for the text, we took another image. Let's see, I believe it was, let's see if we can do this again. It was just the flat version of it, so I looked at images on it. Yeah, this one right here. And we just drug that guy in. Click OK. Select subject. And we'll make a mask. Oops, that did not select the subject good. So that's what I was telling you. It doesn't work all the time, so we'll just go to the magic wand and we'll just hit delete. And that'll be fine for now. Normally, like I said, I'd use the pen tool, but you know, on this, I think we're going to be fine. So with this, you can put it like here. And you want to give yourself breathing room around all the areas. And then we did some text. Here we chose Reisenberg and about a 30. And then for the color, I just chose the light green that's inside of here. And perfectly powerful mints. Period. Alright, and then, you know what, we can change that to left justify sounds right. And then I wanted to stroke it, so I said layer, layer style, stroke. And I wanted the dark color of the green now. And I think we did, let's see, oh, gotta hit OK for the color. Let's go like, that was good, 27. Okay, and now we made it bigger to fit a little bit. And see how it matches the tone of everything. It looks really cool. And then what we did was we took this and select them by holding down shift, so they're both selected at the same time. You can see that here. And then we're just going to align them so that they're even. And then I'm going to move them over so that they're centered. And final thing that we do is, this is my original layer that I had, so the group that I did first, so I'm ignoring that. But basically I grab everything down to the background and I copy it, and then I Command E to just merge all those, and now that's just one layer. So I just made one layer of everything that I've already done. And what I do with that layer is I go to, let's see, we're going to go to, well, you know what, let's do my, go to filter and we'll do a high pass. Go to other and go to high pass. And what you're going to want to do is you're just going to, let's see, the higher you go, the more crazy it's going to get. And I don't want that. I just want some of that ice to be a little bit sharper. So to me, that's good. We'll see what happens. It might be too sharp. And now you're going to change that to an overlay blending mode. And you can see when we turn it on and off how it gets a little bit sharper, which is what we wanted. And then, you know, I mean, if you wanted to, at the end of the day, you could put a little vignette around it, something like that. I'm not really going to do that. But yeah, so you can see how we took and made it look like he was frozen in ice. And, you know, it didn't take a lot of work, just a couple of overlays, some blending modes, some coloring and toning. But yeah, I think you can have some fun with a tutorial like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed it.